Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind podcast, built for real estate professionals that want to work less, earn more, and make an impact in their community. For information on how you can become part of the estate professionals community, visit probate-mastery.com. Welcome to Probate Mastery Weekly podcast. This is technically it's called the Estate Professionals Mastermind. So we're here to take your questions. I recognize practically every face on here right now. So most of you guys know the routine, know the drill, know that we're here to kind of talk about your deals, your prospecting, your conversations, what's been happening in your business. So I know a couple of people are here that we're in our class series that we wrapped up last week, where we spent a good amount of time. It wasn't all about this, but we spent a good amount of time talking about key performance indicators in your business. And that's what I'll kind of open us up with. Or what are your key activities that you guys have decided for your businesses that you need to perform on a weekly basis? And what's your method for tracking those key activities? So inside of our business, we track our key activities using a system called Monday.com. Not because we have to use Monday.com. It's just kind of the easiest place for me to go and set up different trackers and boards. But we're tracking our number of prospecting interactions, not our number of dials, but our actual number of interactions every week. We're tracking our personalized marketing touches. What is a personalized marketing touch? It's something that goes out from us to someone that we've had a meaningful interaction with. So it's not the cold letter, which we could track that as well, but we're tracking the number of personal touches. That could be a handwritten note, that could be a package, that could be a personalized email that you send to someone on your pipeline, leads list, etc. We're tracking the number of attorneys that we have had a substantive interaction with on a weekly basis, the number of partners we add to our partner list. We're tracking the number of videos or blogs that we create, et cetera, et cetera. So do you guys have specific things that you track in your business that you religiously look at every single week? And you know that those things lead to success. So those are going to be your key performance indicators. If you don't, I'm going to encourage you to start tracking those things. And before we talk about what you guys are individually tracking in your business, because I want to hear from some of the folks on the call, I want to first get to kind of a little bit of a higher level than that and ask those of you that have set financial or number of transactional goals for the year, what are your goals? So let's talk about goals first. And I just want some of you guys to either unmute yourself or drop in chat either a financial goal for the probate niche, so probate and estate niche, or a number of transactions that you have set as your goal for the year 2026, which surprisingly we're already a quarter of the way through. So what do you guys have? Unmute yourself if you want to be on camera and talk to us. If you're scared, you can chat it in. What do you guys have as your financial or transactional goals for the year? While those are coming in, Bill Gross, are you going to be here the whole time?
Don't know. I hope to.
Okay.
You never know how it goes. Probate, man. You never know how it goes.
Never know how it goes. I know that for me, it's going to go really weird here in a little bit because Calendly allowed me to double book myself. So I'm wondering if you'd be able to close us out for the last 20 minutes or so if you're around.
Yeah. If you need me, I'll be here.
Okay. In that case, Lou, when you make your call, just ask for a 10-minute delay on my call that I'm supposed to make. I don't know if Lou's still here. Yeah, so what are your transaction goals? I don't see a ton of people chatting in. What do you guys want for your business for the year 2026? I see nobody chatting in. 2 closings a month. Good. So 24 per year. 12 probate closings. Good. Okay. Anybody else? 50 listings, and we're talking probate? That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, 12 for the year. 12. Okay, perfect. All right, those of you that have put your goals into chat, how many of you also know what the KPIs are that are going to lead to your goals? How many of you also know what the KPIs? So if you put your goals into chat and you don't have KPIs yet, just wave at me. Just give me a wave. I've got my goals. I don't have my KPIs yet. Okay. My bet is that most of you don't. So this is the kind of analogy that I like to use when I'm looking at KPIs. So the goal, you're standing on one side of the Grand Canyon, and your goal is on the other side of the Grand Canyon. Now, we all know that depending on we all know, okay, that there is a way to get from one side of the Grand Canyon to the other side of the Grand Canyon. And I'm not talking about driving around or flying. Okay, there is a way to do it. But if you just look at this flag that's a goal on the opposite side of the Grand Canyon and you start walking toward it, what's going to happen to you? You're probably not going to walk very far. You're going to walk 10 steps and you're going to fall a long ways. Okay, so the KPIs are the baby steps that you're doing that you know for a fact are the path that lead from that one ledge to the other ledge, because there is a path that you could take that'll get you where you want to go. Okay, the KPIs are your path to get there. So if you know that you want 12 closings per month, let me kind of give you guys the example. I know that I'm going to convert 20% of the leads that go into my pipeline into a deal. So 20%, if we take 12 and divide that by 0.2, and so this is the calculation, if we take 12 and divide it by 0.2, let's do the math right, 12 divided by 0.2, that means that I need 60 leads into my pipeline in the year. So if I convert 20% of my pipeline into a closed deal, I need 60 leads in my pipeline. So what is a pipeline lead? A pipeline lead is someone that I've had a meaningful interaction with and that they've indicated that they're open to communication and there's a possible real estate need as a part of their estate administration process. So possible real estate need. I leave it super loose. It doesn't need to be a definitive, definite real estate need, but just possible. Okay, I get to normally my path is I offer them a resources package that helps with probate, and then I say, hey, can I share with you what I include in the resources package? Sure. And I'll say it's going to be how-to guides that help with different stages. It's going to be resources and service providers, and then I also include a lot of details on how families can navigate different assets that are part of the estate. So this is my transition that I use, is I describe what's in the package. And then I say, speaking of which, speaking of assets, has your family decided what you're going to do with assets like the real estate when probate finishes? And if they say, yes, we're selling, or we haven't thought about it yet, it's too early to know, those are the leads that I'm counting for the pipeline. I want to convert 20% of people that acknowledge that there's real estate, and maybe it's too early for them to know, or some people just know right out of the gate. So anyone that passes through that filter becomes a pipeline lead for me. So if I want 12 deals, I need 60 people in my pipeline. All right. How many people do I have to talk to on the phone to get one person to go in my pipeline? So for me, it's about 5. If I have 5 conversations on the phone, one person will go in my pipeline. So I take those 60 leads from my pipeline and I multiply those by 5. I need to speak with 300 people this year. 300 people. You divide that by 52 weeks in the year, or let's say I take 2 weeks of vacation. If you take 12 weeks of vacation, great. Just divide it by the number of working weeks in a year. And now you know how many people you need to interact with and have a conversation with on a weekly basis. So this is how I arrive at the KPIs that I'm working with. Now, if I have a conversation and I put someone into my pipeline, that means I need to send them a package, which is a personal touch. It means that I'm probably also going to send them a handwritten note, a personalized email, and probably another letter at some point along the way. Just another warm touch follow-up letter. So right out of the gate, for every person I put in my pipeline, I know that I can do 4 personalized marketing touches to those people. Okay, so this is how we arrive at some of the KPIs. And it's not good enough for you to just put your KPIs on a list. You need to track it week after week. What was my weekly goal? Where did I fall? Okay, and I actually gamify mine, and I put points values to all my KPIs. So every time I do a video, I get 10 points. Every time I do a blog, I get 10 points. Every time I have a conversation, I get 2 points. Every time I add a lead to my pipeline, I get 4 points. Every time I send a personalized marketing touch, I get 2 points. So my goal is 100 points every single week. And I never want more than about 9 to 11 things, let's call it 10, that I'm tracking week to week. We could track 1 million things if we wanted, no point. I want to track the somewhere between 9 and 11 things that really, truly drive me toward that end goal that I have. Okay. So with that said, how many of you guys are going to go out and you're going to create some KPIs for yourself this week? All right, I better see some hands waving at me. So go create some KPIs. You're not going to get, you're just simply, it's like just blindly throwing a flag on the other side of the Grand Canyon and then walking toward it is a recipe for disaster. You have absolutely no plan and nothing to track to know that you're stepping where you need to step. You'll fall in a hole. Okay, so create a plan and you will get to where you guys need to go. So you got to start with the goal first, then you need the plan second. And the plan doesn't need to be complicated. And the truth is, your plan's probably going to change. So if you get a quarter of the way through the year and you're just not getting where you need to go, you adjust the KPIs. If you get a quarter of the way through the year and your KPIs are getting you way more than you thought, you can either increase your goal, or you can adjust the KPIs to work a little bit less. That choice is yours. Okay, but you've got to have the plan, and then you've got to build KPIs into your business because those are the path to get where you want to go. So let's go ahead and open it up and take some questions. You guys have me for about another 20-ish minutes. And Bill, you're welcome to chime in if you have anything. I didn't prearrange this with Bill. I looked at my calendar just before jumping on here and realized I had the conflict. So if Bill wants to jump in early, that's good. If he wants to wait until I leave, that's fine too. What questions do we have? A little bit quiet today. Why are they quiet, Bill? I don't know.
Hey Bruce, I'm Lisa Smith. Gary is my husband.
Yeah. Hey,
He
Lisa.
encouraged me to get on today. So, one quick question I have, and I don't know how much you can share, with me because I'm still learning everything in probate mastery. But what do you suggest that we put into a touch package? Is it like old school, like a calendar, a magnet? What kind of things do you suggest that we put in that touch package?
Well,
Thank
there's some value to any touch package. So let me tell you what other people do, and then and then anything that's more than or better than what your competitors are doing is good. Okay, then we'll talk about some additional examples that you could use, but the majority of your competitors are potentially going to make a call. Potentially. Most won't. Okay. Some won't because they're lazy. Some won't because they don't need to. Okay. It's both. It's both. Some won't because they're scared. There are people on this call that don't make calls and they do fine. Bill, admittedly, does not talk a whole lot about the cold calling process. Why? He's focused on attorneys. Okay, so I'm getting to your answer. I'm getting to the question here in a second, just roundabout way. So I'm circumnavigating the Grand Canyon instead of going right into it. So the majority of people that get into the probate space won't really do much of anything Some are going to go after attorneys. Some are going to go after kind of a cold call. Some are going to do mail. Some are going to do content. A lot of different ways to do this. But the bottom line is, once you've created a conversation, we want some meaningful follow up. Most will not do any mail follow up at all. At all. They don't have an email campaign. They don't even send postcards. Those that do have some sort of a mailing touch point are probably going to do postcards. Some of them might send a single letter. Every now and then, someone in one of your markets that you compete with is going to send a letter, and it's going to have 3 or 4 pages at the back of the letter that say, hey, here's some of the services that we provide. Okay, so at a minimum, that's what you want to send. So here's a cover letter. It was really nice meeting you, and here's 3 or 4 pages of some services that we provide. If you do that, you will probably be ahead of 99% of anyone who would ever get a probate list and have a conversation. Okay. I don't necessarily consider that a foolproof way of doing it. We want to be in front of someone with something that wows them, that moves us to the top of the heap, but keeps us at the top of the heap. So for me, I'm normally going after kind of a substantial FedEx style envelope, like I'm waving in my hand right now. So something substantial, not flimsy and floppy. So that automatically gives me a slight edge above competition. An envelope's not going to give me a big edge, but a nice envelope does have a psychological effect to it. Then I'm gonna, so it's not going in a folded envelope. It's not going in a number 10 envelope. Nothing wrong with that, but this just kind of helps cement a little bit of brand awareness. Okay. Gonna do a cover letter. And then I definitely like the extra couple of pages that talk about different services that you provide. For me, I separate my services out into individual pages. So I'll have a checklist. I'll have a brochure. I might have a CMA, depending on what level your conversation was at. I'm not in the habit of doing CMAs for people that I've had like a shallow conversation with. I'll still send them a package, but I'd be spending my life doing CMAs if I sent one to everyone I talked to. Okay. But I might do a CMA if they're a really kind of high quality, hot lead. I'm probably going to put some pages in there that are information about the probate process. So maybe some information on what they need if they want to do a cash advance, maybe a page or 2 on securing real estate, securing assets, maybe a page or 2 on the different types of options that they have if they're going to sell assets. Okay. In the class that we just finished up, we gave a bunch of templates and samples, and that was part of the Behind the Curtain class series that we ran. We'll run it again at some point. But even with them, I showed the samples, and then I said, what you probably ought to do is use one of the AI tools and say, hey, here's the samples that Bruce gave us. Let's recreate this so that we're not ever sending the same thing anybody else does. Okay, the odds that somebody else is sending this much information is pretty small. It's pretty small, but if they are, I want to make sure that mine looks and feels a little bit different. Okay, so what you guys have access to inside of Probate Mastery and potentially wherever you're getting leads is probably a trifold brochure, probably a probate checklist. I know that because I created the checklist and a brochure, and most of the lead companies are using those and making them available. So you probably have those even if you didn't get it from Probate Mastery. A letter, and then I would at minimum just do a handful of pages that kind of break apart the different categories of things that you can take care of for someone, and then put it in something that's more substantial. Some people go and just get FedEx envelopes. Mine is branded. Mine is very low key branded. So mine is North Carolina Estate Solutions, and then I tell them in the bottom that it is estate administration resources. And I know that the camera is a little bit blurry. So I kind of went low key. I didn't want them to look at it and go, there's just a commercial inside of this envelope. I'm not opening it. So I wanted them to feel like there was some something important in there, which there is in my package. Okay, does that help?
Absolutely. Thank you. And if you don't mind, if I could just do one follow-up,
Yeah.
and I won't speak for the rest of the time, but when we're doing letter campaigns, that's what we're focusing on. We have a
Mm-hmm.
series of 5 letters that we send out, one initial and then 4 follow-up. As far as the emphasis is on probate versus real estate, should our first letter be more probate focused with a little bit of real estate? And then should we just add a little bit of probate to every letter and still focus on real estate? Can you just kind of give me an idea? Because Gary and I have been struggling trying to get a happy medium on what message our letters should be focusing on. Thank you.
Yeah, mail is, and you don't have to shut up for the rest of the call. Feel free to ask any other questions, but mail is one of those things that is really hard to perfectly nail down. What one letter you send out and it'll get 3 responses, and you go, "This is the one." And then the next 10 times you send it out, it doesn't get any, and then it'll get 10 responses on another time that you send it out. It's finicky. So here's what I like to do with mail. I like to have a real estate focused mail piece that goes from a separate brand from my main brand. Okay, why? Real estate focused mail piece. I was wondering what you were going to do with 123 Main Street. Tends to make a pretty big percentage of people in probate somewhat angry. Okay, my loved one just died. You're just trying to buy the house. It tends to make a percentage, 5-10% of your probate list, really happy. They open that letter and they go, "I had no idea what to do with this house. It's got a mortgage on it and I don't have enough money in the bank account to pay the estate bills. I needed this letter right now." So I want that letter going out, but I don't want it to completely undermine and ruin the future "I'll help you with probate" letters. Okay. So I do believe that there should be a direct real estate letter or 2 in a campaign. 1 or 2 is completely fine. I'll usually do those close to the front of the campaign. After that, I switch my brands up and I come with a concierge. I help you with the estate administration and probate process. And the body of those letters is mostly about helping with probate. Now, I still want some real estate in those letters. So I'll normally put the real estate offer of those letters in the PS. So I studied copywriting a little bit, certainly not at like a college level or anything. I'll tell you, ChatGPT probably studied it at a college level, or Claude probably studied it at a college level. So even if you didn't, there's ways of getting like really high level letter copy from AI. So with the knowledge that I have of copywriting, I know that people scan letters and scan copy. So I never want really long paragraphs. I want headers throughout so that they know what the next 1 or 2 short paragraphs are going to be about, and they can decide, is what's in there relevant to me? Am I going to read it or not? And the header will tell them whether they want to read the paragraph or 2 below that. And then I'll do another header with another topic, paragraph or 2, another header with another topic, and then I'll sign, and then I put a PS. And I will actually sometimes highlight the PS, and my PS is normally real estate focused. So if I'm going to do a concierge, help you with probate type of letter, the PS is going to be, "By the way, if there's a real estate need, I can get you offers." Okay. And it's interesting because I've had people that didn't read the body of my letter, but they would read my PS without a problem. Okay. So I would do a little bit of both things in your business. If you're going to do a very forward real estate letter, you need to either really significantly soften it up or send it from a different brand. Okay. Work? Good? All right. What else do we have, guys? You're running out of time with me, and then you're going to be stuck with Bill. So when I bounce out, everybody probably ought to just leave because we know it's not going to be valuable. Just kidding. What do you guys have? Other questions? And if anyone has a question for Bill, you could start early if you want. Bill, what's on your mind while everyone's being quiet?
Dude, I'm just so darn busy with closing escrows and new listings and offers. I just have to think much about the call. I really just was planning to sit here and kind of do some admin work, but I'm glad to step in and answer questions. But no, I'm just really busy. I mean, I'm so glad I picked this niche 6 years ago, and I worked really hard for the last 6 years. It's not something that I sent out a bunch of letters last week and now I'm busy. But that said, it's a lot of work, and I got a lot going on, so I haven't really thought about it. I will say this: if there's one thing I would say, it was really interesting. I was listening to somebody talk about. I follow NFL football and drafting quarterbacks. And one of the things that's kind of vogue now is teams are very focused on drafting a quarterback who loves being an NFL quarterback, loves the process of preparation because it's so technical. If you're a casual fan, you may not know how technical the job of quarterback is with plays and variations and calling plays and substitutes. But they look for me who loves that. And I think that the key to this niche, because I know that you provide a lot of technical support, you got to really love this process because it is a lot of work. It's hard. I'm jumping a bunch of stuff, but I love the game. And so I think that's the key thing is make sure, however you're approaching this business, whether it be mailing or phone calling or videos like I do, or referrals or lunches or whatever it is you do, make sure you love it because it's going to be a lot of work.
Yep. You do need to love it, and you need to like adjusting. I would say, by the way, Bill, I got my time wrong again. So my call's not at 2:30. It's at 3:30. Don't know what's going on with my brain and calendar. So if you want to take over in a little bit, great. Then I can sit back. But if not, you guys have both of us. The adjusting, I would say that when you are a marketer or a prospector or you're building a business, in a way, you almost have to love the adjustments as much as your process. You need to enjoy building. You need to enjoy creating. You need to enjoy providing value to folks. And if something isn't working, you need to be good making those adjustments on the fly, changing your letters, changing up the day that you do video or anything like that. Monica's got her hand up. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for everything you've shared thus far. My question is, if you don't mind, would you be able to repeat some of the KPIs that you mentioned early on the call that you recommend people track and that your team tracks?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
KPIs for me are they're gonna start with time on the business. So I didn't mention this in the beginning. We have in the business activity and we have on the business activity. And I think the majority of us know the difference. So the majority of those of us on the call are probably caught up in the day-to-day. So we're working in the business, we're prospecting, we're meeting clients, we're doing transactional details, we're managing paperwork, we're on appointments. Those are in the business activities, but your business is always going to stay where it is if you don't dedicated time every week or every month. I would highly advise every week, dedicate some time to working on the business. Okay, so for me, it's minimum 5 hours per week, and I give myself points for every hour that I spend working on the business. Minimum 5 hours per week, creating some kind of a system or process that will make my life and job easier in the future.
Okay.
I'll give you an example of that. And I run a separate list of projects that I want to work on. My brain is constantly coming up with new projects. So I've got a list of about 1,000 projects that would be beneficial to add in my business. And I just prioritize those at the beginning of every month. And during my time block where I'm working on the business, I just focus on those 3 or 4 priorities that I identified at the beginning of the month. So maybe one month it's creating a 24 touch email campaign. Maybe another month it is building a new web page or creating a blog series. Maybe one month it's setting up a video editing process or something like that. So I just have at the beginning of every month my handful of 2 to 5 projects that I want to accomplish during the month that's going to make my life and job easier. It's going to go out and work for me, whether I'm sleeping or vacationing or busy or whatever. Okay, so for me, I'm giving myself points for every hour I spend doing that, and then I time block those into my week every week.
Okay.
Hey guys, I'm butting in here with a quick ask. If you're getting value out of this coaching today, I want to invite you to check out my Probate Mastery trainings over at www.probate-mastery.com. Probate Mastery is for you if you're an agent or an investor that wants to work with motivated sellers that have inherited real estate that they don't need and in many cases can't afford. These sellers are more appreciative, willing to trust your expertise, and less likely to nickel and dime you over commission or price. Why is that? They're often in the middle of a complex probate or an estate administration process, and this means that real estate is very often a burden on them, and they simply need the help. Inside of Probate Mastery, I teach you exactly where to source your leads, how to establish value, and offer your service in a way that quickly makes you, as the professional, your market's expert in the probate space. If you want to know a little bit more, go over to www.probate-mastery.com. Hope to see you guys inside of the community. Thanks. After that, it's a whole list of in the business activities. So phone prospecting. Every time I have a conversation, I give myself 2 points. Okay. Every time I add a lead into my pipeline. So remember, every 5 conversations, I typically get a lead. So every time I add a lead to my pipeline, I give myself 4 points. Okay. So my goal personally is 10 conversations per week and 5, this probably isn't the right math, and 5 leads to my pipeline. All right. I give myself points for every time I send a personalized marketing touch to someone that I've previously engaged with. I give myself points every time I have a vendor meeting, a personalized face-to-face meeting with a vendor that I can refer or that might hopefully one day start to refer me. I give myself points every time I have an attorney conversation with an attorney that I've never met before. I give myself points every time I create a blog or a video. I give myself points every time I interview an attorney or a vendor that can go on my YouTube channel. And then I give myself points every time I go see a house that might sell in the future. So that's a really, really hard, that last one is tricky for people because we want to go on listing appointments. And I love to go on listing appointments. When I talk to someone that says, yeah, I'm in the very beginning of probate and I have no idea what I'm going to do with this house yet, I try to get face to face with them. So a property preview where I know that there's almost no chance that I'm going to walk away with a listing agreement that might only take 10 minutes. I live for those because that's someone that I've beat my competition to the FaceTime by 6 months. So that's why I track those. So those are the activities that I normally track. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I did have one additional question. Did I hear you say, I'm driving, so I'm hearing it, but not as the best as I could. Did I hear you say that you open your conversations, adding value, offering your probate packet, and then kind of filter from there when you then ask your follow-up question about what they're going to be doing with the asset one way or the other to determine then if you're adding them to the pipeline? Did I get that correct, kind of?
To a degree. Yeah, to a degree. There's so many ways to do this. I can tell you that If you open the conversation, let's go with the aggressive way of opening the conversation. And I don't use this way very often anymore, but it works. So I'm just gonna give you the good and the bad of all the different types, and then I'll kind of land on the one that I normally use.
Okay.
So the aggressive real estate conversation. Why would we want to call and go, hey, I was wondering about 123 Main Street if the family might want to sell that? Why would we want to do that? Some people just want you to get to the point. They've already thought about selling the house. They say, come on out.
Right.
Why would we not want to do that? Some people,
that
you're an
rest.
ambulance chaser and that they will never work with you in a million years. If they hear your name again, it's not going to be good. Okay.
Okay.
Both. Okay. My way is normally softer. And the difficulty with the softer approach is sometimes you never get to the real estate conversation. There's people that you go, hey, I help with the probate process. Nope, got an attorney that does it all. Bye. And you're like, I didn't even get to the main point. So there's pros and cons to all of those. What I do is I present a concierge service. So it's something like, Monica, I really don't know where you are in the process, but basically what we do is we provide almost like a concierge service. It just helps with different resources that some families need in probate. But again, I don't know where you are in the process. I'm kind of guessing that you guys have an attorney, or are you doing it independently? So from that point, I'm giving like this 30,000 foot overview of these services and resources that I can provide. Really, I'd almost call it a 60,000 foot overview. They have no idea what I mean by concierge services and resources. It's clean. It's not confusing, but there's really no substance or detail to it. So for me, I go through that so that I can start to ask questions about their situation.
Okay.
Inevitably, I get the people that want to say, we have everything handled. So I make sure that if they are going to tell me that they have everything handled, they're telling me that on my terms. So I don't want to say, here's how it would sound if it was on their terms. Hey, Monica, basically what we do is we have a concierge service for that helps with different resources that some families need in probate. Is there anything I can do with you? No, I've got it all handled. Okay, that's their objection on their terms, and now all of a sudden I have to scramble and try to convince them that they're wrong, that they don't have. So I would much rather them, if they're going to say it, just get them to say it on my terms. So I'll go. But I'm not really sure where you are in the process. I'm guessing that you guys kind of have an attorney handling almost everything, or you doing it independently? And you say, yes, we've got an attorney. Well, now there's one objection that's not an objection anymore. I got it on my terms. And do you feel like you kind of have things handled at this point? Yes, we have things handled at this point. Okay, in that case, I think what I want to do is send you some details on some of what we can cover. And if you ever needed anything, I want you to call me.
Okay. So
for me, I'm kind of going through this question asking process where if they settle in on we've got an attorney doing things, if they settle in on we've got things handled, then I can fall to information or resources material.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if they don't settle in on we've got it all handled, then I'm just going to keep going. So, I mean, in a perfect world, they go, no, this is completely overwhelming. I'm stressed out. I've never dealt with this before. I'm not offering a resources package then. I'm going to have a conversation. I'm going to try to get some face-to-face. So I know that most people are going to want to give me some resistance. So I've set it up to where they're allowed to tell me that they're allowed to tell me, yes, I have it handled.
Okay.
They're not, I don't really allow them to say, no, I have it handled. And that's just a matter of proper question.
Okay.
Okay. And if they do say, yes, I have it handled, or yes, our attorney's doing everything, then immediately I say, in that case, let me start by doing this. Let me send you some resources that might be useful in the future. And I want you to call me if you ever need anything.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the problem with that, and we role play this in our coaching every week. So the problem with that approach is that's a really easy place for most of us on the phone to back out of the call.
Yeah.
So it's a really comfortable, easy, hey, you know what? I had a conversation. I got my 2 points. They took a package. I think I'm going to relax and not try to go any further. So the skill is in creating some curiosity from that point forward and trying to get them to continue engaging with you in conversation. And that takes some practice and some skill, but it's not hard when you kind of map out the process for how you're going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I almost never go all real estate aggressive. Now I might have an ISA that's going real estate aggressive. Because if they get mad at an ISA, they're not mad at me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they're super mad and then I happen to call them later and go, yeah, I help with all the probate process. I've had people that have said this to me. You wouldn't believe someone just called me and offered to buy my house. And I went, oh my gosh, the nerve of some people. Okay. Truth is they were part of my team. So I like to split those messages up because I know some people want direct, some people want nice and comfortable, some people want to have a long, detailed, curiosity-based conversation. So we want to set up different ways of doing all three. And I'm going to go back to the KPIs. No, most people here would never set up different ways of doing all three if they didn't have their time blocks for working on the business. The only reason that I have these different ways of doing all three of those approaches is because I created those approaches during my 5 hours of time block every week.
Okay.
Okay. And then I tested them, and sometimes they didn't work, and sometimes they worked great, and I permanently put it in the business. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's go back to your original question. Should I offer a package is my lead? You could absolutely do that. I don't offer a package as the lead. I offer a package if they take the route of saying, yes, we've got things handled.
Okay.
Okay. First thing I want is to disarm them and say, hey, I don't know your situation. We do this thing when we role play and when we practice in the coaching group where every now and then I'll say, okay, guys, come in here and tell me why I should use you. And I'm not going to do it to you all on this coaching call, but inevitably everybody goes, you should use me because I know probate the best. You should use me because I'll do everything for you. You should use me because I've got a great personality and all these different things. And so everybody always does that. And then I say, somebody ask me why they should use me. And they'll ask, and I go, I'm not really sure that you should use me. And I've done that with so many people in real life, and the resistance that just strips out of the call, it's gone. The resistance is gone. So when I'm talking to people before I go pitching them on what I want to do, I'm always kind of leading with, I don't know really where you are in the process. And then I ask a couple of questions. And if they are still a little bit guarded, which a lot of people are, and they say, yeah, we've got things handled. It's always a yes, we've got things handled now. And then I can say, okay, since you have things handled, what I want to do is I want to send you some resources that might help.
Okay.
And then if things are good, you can continue and you can start talking about assets and different things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right.
Thank you very much. And last question, is this call recorded?
Yeah, this is recorded. Fingers
Fantastic.
crossed,
I'll go back and listen to it.
pretty rare that we miss the recording on here, but it has happened. It'll be on the YouTube channel, Probate Mastery.
Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thanks. Noriel, long time no talk, my brother. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Um, on the KPIs, how many did you said you have on the list? Is it about 10 or so, or
Yes, somewhere around 10. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, I've got 11.
you got 11? Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
I got 11. So somewhere between 9 and 11. We've for a while, because there's other things that would be nice to be able to track every week.
Mm-hmm.
We just fall off. There can be overwhelm, too many things that you need to do for the week, and you don't do anything, and that I've seen that happen a lot. So, in that 10 range is kind of ideal.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. No, yeah. A little bit too many gets too overwhelming, but yeah, this is.
Yeah. Right. Right. All right. What else, man?
Uh, just plugging along. I mean, I think I have a closing coming up Friday, so that was good.
Good.
Philip has one closing as well, but we're at it. Just plugging away.
Awesome. Good. I had a closing yesterday on a probate that's been a long time in the works. Hopefully, not hopefully, should get a phenomenal review out of it. Should get some referrals out of it. This one was a fiasco, a comedy of errors, some people might say. And I made some money, but not nearly what it would have been. So I listed this house at 4.5%, $700,000 house. Okay, so just big, like it was supposed to be a nice payday. And I know you're in LA, so those of you in California are laughing at my trailer that's 700,000, but that's pretty good here. Okay. And to do that, I basically offered to coordinate a whole house clean out. Offered to have the locks changed. I wasn't going to pay for a whole house clean out, just coordinate it. Offered to have the locks changed. Offered to drop a dumpster off on my dime. It was essentially coordinating a lot of stuff, and the guy just loved it. And we got in there, and I took my wife photos of all the stuff that was in the house, and it was a lot of antique furniture. And she said in passing, she said, "Wow, those would be really good at our house in Virginia," which somehow I interpreted as you should go buy that house full of furniture, Bruce. So I did that. I just sort of went in and bought a house full of furniture. And then I took her up to the house to actually put the sign in the yard. And she said, "This isn't nearly as nice as the photos that you brought home. I don't want any of that." Well, when I offered to buy it, I was like, "I'll buy it. I'll clean it all out of here." Okay. So suddenly I went from a 4.5% listing on a nice house to still a 4.5% listing where I bought furniture that I then had to clean out and then I had to resell. I got $1,500 for the furniture when I resold it, so that was a little bit of a mess. And not only that, the clean out crew, we found out yesterday they didn't take everything out of there. So yesterday, right before the closing, we got that dreaded call of, "Why is this 600-pound piano still in the house? And what's this doing here? And do you know that the grill and the old rusted out grill and all the rusted patio furniture's out back?" So I had to get in the car and handle that stuff yesterday. But I got a closing.
You got to close. Is that the first one from your campaigns, or is that?
That was the first one from this round, this iteration of our campaigns, where we started doing this particular resources package and offering the package. That was a lead that came in about five months ago. I think it was the first lead, substantive, like real hot conversation lead that I had. We've had a contract for 4 months though, not a purchase contract, but a listing agreement.
Gotcha. Well, congratulations. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Hey Lou, what do you have, man?
Yeah, your meeting's going to be in 5 minutes.
Oh, great.
And then a question came through. When or If do you mention your personal experience, probate for my family, and or years in the business?
I almost never mention years in the business. Almost never. Um, that's just sort of a personal pet peeve. As soon as someone mentions years in the business to me, I usually go, "Oh, yeah, you're a dinosaur. Great." Now, I am a dinosaur in the business. I got in when I was 24 years old, and I'm at 22 years in real estate now. Um, but I normally don't mention that. I'll try really good marketing material, and resources packages are really good, and I'll let people kind of ask me, and most people do ask. As far as experience goes, if I'm doing videos, I will mention specific individual experiences in videos. If I'm talking with someone, I'll probably, if we're on the phone having a solid conversation, or if I'm in an appointment having a solid conversation, I'll certainly mention what got me into probate. If it was helping a family, if it was managing probate for a family member, I'll bring it up. But I'm never forcing it. So anyone that says, "When do you bring it up?" I do worry about that a little bit, because I feel like you're looking for that exact spot where you're gonna try to force it in. And every relationship and conversation is really fluid. So if I find an opening for it, I'm going to bring it up. If it's in marketing, I can pre-plan that in a letter or a video or a blog. I can pre-plan where it's going to go. But in a conversation, it's just really hard. I'll give you guys an example of trying to force something into a conversation. A lot of you guys, especially if you've taken probate mastery, know that Chad taught no trespassing sign and vacant property insurance rider. And what happens all the time, and I hear this in role play and I hear it on live calls and all sorts of things, is someone says, "I got everything handled." So we were talking to Monica. Was it Monica? Who was it a little bit ago? Was it Marcy? I can't remember who it was a second ago, where we were talking about getting a yes, "I have things handled," versus a no. So what happens is we get a no, "I have things handled," no, "my attorney's doing it all," and we start scrambling and we get desperate to save this relationship and this conversation that's spinning out of control. They've objected to me. How am I gonna save this relationship? And we start like grasping at straws, and the person on the other end, they can hear and feel what's happening. Okay, and it makes them resist even more. And so a lot of times we take really good things like mentioning our experiences, mentioning a no trespassing sign, mentioning a vacant property rider. These are great things to talk about. And we try to force it in at this one specific spot where we're just trying to save the call. So, "No, I have things handled." Oh, have you thought about a no trespassing rider? And it just oozes with desperation. How am I going to save this conversation that I'm losing control of? So I never want to go in with specific baked in pre-planned places that I'm gonna bring things up. I'll bring them up when I feel there's some receptiveness to it, and it's never when someone has led with skepticism. I need to remove that skepticism. I need to remove the objections. I need to make the person feel comfortable first. All right. Awesome. Good question.
Cool.
Good question.
All right, we got to go.
Yep, we got to go. Bill, you able to close this out?
Can you make
Sure.
Bill host? Can you make him
Yeah.
host?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or, yeah. Actually, I don't know if it's going to conflict with this.
You're good. You're good. I'm gonna
Yeah.
change hosting to Bill.
Okay.
I'm hosting. We're good. Okay, who's got a question here? We can wrap
The
up.
recording still going? Do you see the recording still
Yeah.
going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Just making sure. Don't want that recording fiasco. Thank you. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, guys.
See you soon.
Sure. Who's got a question I can help with? I'm a full-time real estate broker in probate. I've got listings. I think it's funny. I should know off the top of my head how many I have. I want to say 12. I've got several pendings, 3 or 4 pendings. Just close a couple. Let's see. I have 11 active listings, of which 4 are under contract. How's that? And I just sold 3 in the last year to date. So pretty busy. And I have some other, I want to say that real estate sales is about half of my probate gross income because I built some other businesses out of it. Who can help? Anybody? Glad to be of assistance. Anybody? I don't see any hands up. I don't see any questions. I don't see anything in the chat box. My focus is on referrals from attorneys and other financial professionals, mortgage originators, realtors, professional fiduciaries. Grace Rudd Papadakis has the, looks to me like the focus on her. Is that on everybody's screen or just mine? Best way to start off in this new. Jennifer, I'm not sure I understand your question. Best way to start off in this new. Oh, I get this question a lot, Jennifer. Nobody likes my answer because I don't work for Bruce. I'm a customer and I work with him and help out because I feel like I need the pump up. I need to pick up an idea or two. Maybe out of the hour call, I get 2 or 3 minutes of stuff that really helps me because I'm pretty experienced, but I need that bit. And I often need other agents to help me sell my business listings or referrals too. And I get asked this question a lot, and nobody likes the answer, but I'm going to say that before I would focus on probate, I would make sure I know how to sell real estate. And I'd be in business, and what that means is I'd have my database tight, or have everybody that I know who knows, likes, and trusts me in some sort of a database. Be able to email them all something every week and post something about social media that I learned that they might enjoy reading about at a minimum every week. And I started doing that when I started the business. When I focused on probate 6 years ago, I added probate-focused content. And today I do video podcasts. I do 5 different videos a week. But it's hard to get going and having a database. And when you have a video and then you can email it to your database and you have social media and you can link it in your social media, you got to drive the traffic on your own. Then at some point, YouTube will pick it up and push it for you. But I would say that the key is to start to learn how to do real estate. I get to know your forms, your purchase forms, your listing forms. In probate, we get more of those edge problems. So you have to know the fundamentals better. And you know your database. What you'll be surprised when you'll find is that one of your clients who you sold a house to and you knew he was an accountant or a plumber or whatever, you discover that the wife or maybe the husband who you thought was just a secretary turns out to be a secretary at the most prolific probate administration law firm in your city. And you only know that by having a database and staying in touch with people and then talking about the probate process. Talk about the middle of the process, mediation between heirs and families. You know, negotiation, mediation, problem solving is a key part of this business. Not sure exactly, it's a broad question. I'd be glad to answer some specifics, but I would just say that understand that part of the role I play as a real estate agent, if there's an attorney for the petitioner and then there's maybe objectors and they have attorneys, I can talk to both attorneys. I can talk to both principals where the attorneys can't do that. And so I can often solve problems by calling the objector and saying, listen, I'm not sure what your attorney is telling you, but here's how I know this is going to work better for you. And even though I represent the seller, I represent the estate, and getting a better resolution is my job. So I hope that helps, Roger. But again, that's a broad topic, and we've got a couple minutes here to wrap up. Any other questions? Should I jump off? Okay, thanks, Jennifer. House new in probate. Yeah, if you're new in real estate, that's one thing. If you're new in probate, you're already in real estate, I'd make sure my COI, my center of influence was tightened up. And the thing I would do is I would spend an hour minimum a week learning about probate, learning the forms, the procedures.